Have you with us this afternoon. We're glad that you could join us for our webinar, The Overview of E-Testing. To give you an official welcome today, we have the Registrar and CEO of Cxc. Good afternoon, Dr. Wayne Wesley.
It is of particular interest this year, is very much given the fact that we are offering this, looking at a modified examination process, which will actually take into account increased use of our e-testing modality for exams delivery. However, I must also point out that in areas where we do have infrastructure challenges, schools and the various territories are facing challenges with internet and all those issues associated with the infrastructure that is required, we will still make available the associated paper-based modality to ensure that none of our candidates would be disadvantaged or disenfranchised simply because they don't have access to the technology. We would have been doing several or making available several platforms like our Cxc Learning Hub, which is Learning Hub at cxc.org, where students, teachers will find very useful information in assisting them in their preparation. Today's session is one of the sessions organized through our Learning Institute. We would have had dedicated sessions before with teachers on certain things to do with online learning, and today is another continuation in that series. I recognize the demand for this kind of intervention and the overwhelming responses we would have received from individuals wanting to access these webinars and workshops online. To that end, those who were unable to join directly with us in the Zoom presentation here can actually watch us live via Facebook at this moment. So if you have persons who you know who wanted to get in and are unaware of the fact that they can watch us live on Facebook at this moment, I encourage you to send them that link or ask them to visit the Cxc Facebook page to have access to this presentation. The team here at Cxc, we are delighted to make this presentation to you, and of course we'll be making every effort for you to understand the processes as it relates to e-testing. They are committed and ready to take your questions this afternoon and to make sure that you're comfortable with the processes as you navigate your way through an e-testing platform. Welcome to all, and I appreciate you taking the time to be with us, and I'm sure that it will be both beneficial to yourself and to Cxc in ensuring that we're all equipped to take advantage of the digital space. Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, and thank you again. Welcome to this session. Diane?
Thank you, Registrar. At this time, I want to introduce the panelists who are in the webinar on this end. We have, first of all, you've heard the Registrar give his welcome. We also have the Director of Technological Innovation, Mr. Rodney Payne, the Director of Operations, Mrs. Nicole Manning.
Good afternoon.
Thank you. I am Diane Medford from Exams Administration Security, and there's also Miss Debbie Ann Hall assisting us this afternoon from the Syllabus Division. Miss Paula Nichols is our presenter, and she will be speaking to you in a few moments. At this time, we just want to get some information. We've been asked by our colleagues in the Learning Institute to get some information on the territories being represented. So all we're going to ask you to do is to just type your response, and they will collate that information at a later date. We're glad to see there's so many people from throughout the region. Thank you so much for joining us today. We recognize that this is a situation which is quite unprecedented, and we do know that there are lots of you who are trying to find ways to cope at this time. Some people have taken up gardening. Some people are working in the kitchen with some fabulous menus and so on and so forth. And we just, at this time, we're just asking you if you could just indicate to us 2 mechanisms that you've been using. I see gardening there on our end. I want to remind you at this time while you're typing that, as the registrar pointed out, we also are providing access to the webinar via our Facebook page and our Cxc TV link. We do have staff working and supporting us on those pages as well, on those platforms. And feel free, those of you who are utilizing Facebook and utilizing the Cxc TV, please feel free to submit your queries, your questions, and the staff will be supporting you there as well. There are so many of us this evening, but
go ahead. I'm just saying I'm seeing a lot of sewing and cooking and gardening and knitting and
exercise
and,
yes.
and
somebody's coping by doing schoolwork.
Yes.
And of course there's sleeping.
Yes.
Netflix is getting a lot of mention over here.
Yes.
So we just want to thank all the staff that's there with us today. We have the entire team from exams administration and security. We have members from syllabus. We have our communications team as well. We are just thankful for everyone. And we also have our webmaster, and we have representation from exams development and production. Well, so thank you so much for that exercise. Now, as we are about to commence, I just want to lay a couple ground rules and advise you a couple of things for housekeeping. One, you will note that everyone is muted, and that enables us, because there's so many people that would have registered for the webinar. You will notice that we expanded the platforms and so on. And with so many people in the webinar, we want to ensure that everyone can hear clearly, that there's no feedback and things like that. So therefore, at this time, I want to remind you that you are muted, and your your mic will remain muted for the duration of the presentation. Please note also that at the end of the presentation, we will invite a few questions which will be answered live. In the meantime, any questions which you have, you need to just put them in the question and answer section, and our staff will assist in responding to those. We recognize that quite a few of the questions that have come in before deal with things like, are we changing the deadlines for SBA? And I want to just advise, yes, those have been changed. Your local registrars can indicate to you the dates that are the revised dates. People are asking about the revised timetable, and we're just indicating that once all of our discussions are finalized, those will be available as well. So there are lots of things that are being asked, and we're going to be trying to respond to all your questions. At this point in time, we're going to ask Ms. Paula Nichols to present on electronic testing. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're going to first start off. Thank you all for joining me, first of all, joining us today as we go through this session. What is electronic testing? So electronic testing is basically a replication of the paper-based exam. It is just that you're using it on a computer. So you'll be seeing the same exam that would have been taken paper-based on the computer screen. Candidates will have the option to just select their responses and go through. And I will show you the actual live candidate screen at the end of my presentation. So with electronic testing, we have 3 modalities. You have fully online, you have partially online, and you have offline. We speak to fully online in that you have reliable internet connectivity and you are taking your tests fully online. There are instances where you can lose your internet connectivity. Candidates can still continue their examination. The supervisors and invigilators at the center are trained when this happens, what they must do. So they have the option to manually upload the tests to the website, or they can try to regain internet connectivity and the candidates can continue. The tests are saved in the cloud. So suppose at the center a candidate's computer might crash or something might happen. The candidate can switch their computer, and since it's saved in the cloud, the candidate can continue their examination from wherever they would have left off when they were on the other computer. The selection of subjects is done by the Ministries of Education. Ministries, based on their infrastructure, will determine what examinations they are able to do in their territory. As a result, they will notify Cxc which examinations will be taken online, and we will process those examinations so candidates can log on successfully and write their examinations electronically. How can candidates, with the platform that is being used, we ask that candidates have the safe exam browser on the computers. So at those centers, the candidates have the technicians at the centers will download the safe exam browser onto the computer. Now the safe exam browser secures the computer so that candidates cannot access anything outside of the examination. So they're unable to browse, unable to look at anything else but the examination. Students taking the exam are using Microsoft Edge, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, and Safari. Those are the platforms that are supported with the online platform. Here on the screen, you will see the minimum requirements for the specific Windows operating systems or Mac. Persons usually ask the bandwidth requirement. The requirement is usually 512 kilobytes per user. With every administration of the exam, we have specific training for those persons who will be supervising the exam. Persons are submitted by the Ministries of Education to Cxc, and all persons who are submitted to us are trained in how to administer the examinations. If there are any challenges at the centers on the day of the examinations, they can give the candidates additional time. They also can take attendance in the system, and they are trained in doing manual uploads or handling any issues that arise. For the candidates, we have a number of outlets where they can practice with the electronic exams. On our Cxc website, we currently have demo exams. These demo exams, they do not allow for submission. They are only to give the candidates an experience in how electronic testing is done, and just for them to have a feel and see and to practice what it would be like in the actual exam. We also have, on a regular basis, practice sessions. Persons can submit to the Ministries of Education in any center if they want their particular schools to do a practice session. We also have pre-testing, which is done electronically, and the Ministries of Education would submit to us and let us know when these pre-tests, when they want these pre-tests and practice sessions to be done. We also have instituted a practice database where persons can log in and do testing as well. And that is our Cxc Schools database. Ms. Merrifer, do you have any comment here?
At this time. Thank you.
Okay. How can candidates access their credentials? On our online registration system, the administrators at the school are able to generate the credentials for the candidates that have been loaded into that system. So we have here 2 reports that can be run by the schools so that candidates can have their credentials before the start of the exams. So we have our student user listing by center, and we also have the subject registered report. Candidates themselves can also log into their student portal once they have received their timetables and they have their registration numbers, and generate the subject registered report as well, so that they themselves can see their login credentials. I'm not sure if it is very clear to you. However, you see the candidate's first name, last name, their user ID, and their password. The usernames and passwords that are provided to candidates, they do not change for the particular session that the candidates are doing examinations for. So if you are doing examinations in January and you are given a set of credentials, all the examinations that you are registered for, you will use those same credentials to complete your examinations. If you are registered for June, you will be issued a new set of credentials so that you can log in and write your examinations. In preparation, as I mentioned, we have the demo test on the Cxc site, and I did indicate as well that the ministries can request sessions where the candidates can actually do a live demonstration of an actual exam. We also have the Cxc Learning Hub, and I'm sure persons are familiar with this. We have been pushing this as well so that they can log on and practice. On our Cxc website, we also have manuals. We have manuals for the invigilators of the test, and we have manuals for the candidates. So you can also go to the link here and peruse those manuals. I will now do a live demonstration of the candidate experience. Just bear with me for a second. Thank you for your patience. Here we have the screen that a candidate would see when they are ready to log in to their examinations. The candidate is provided with their username and their password. They enter these. And they log in. They will see the name of the examination and the date and time, and the time limit for that particular exam. You say click here to get ready, and the candidates will then see the instructions for the examination. They are given the time to read those instructions, and then they start the test. This is a language exam, pardon me. This is a language exam. So in here, the candidates would have headphones to listen to the recordings. They will listen to the recording and select the correct response. Each question appears on a different page. So this is question 1. The candidates will move on. This is question 2. Once again, they listen to the recording and they select their answer. And you can see that as they go through, the responses are saving. It also gives the time so that the candidates are aware of how much time they have spent and how much time they have remaining. As they go through, they simply select their answers. Candidates also have the option to flag a question. If a candidate listens to this specific question and they flag it because they're not sure of the response, they can continue with their examination. I'm not going to do all of them. It's just a brief demonstration of the actual site. So as they go through, they respond, they can flag. I should be answering correctly since I am a French major. Once the candidates have responded to all of their questions, or as many questions as they think they can, they will select the submit button at the end. Now here on the screen, it will show you that they have 60 questions. They did not attempt 43. So if they get here, they can select this and go back to a question as well. It will show them that they flagged 3 questions. They can select those questions as well and go back to them and answer them. They will also see the flags at the bottom of the screen where they have flagged. They will see the icon where they have flagged a particular question. So once they have not yet submitted, they can go back through and review once they have the time at the end of the examination. They can go through and respond to the questions. And then once they have finished, they submit their response. And that would be the end of the examination. They would then log out. And they would, once the time has not passed, they will await their release from that room.